Welcome to the results video for UFC Fight Night Kansas, Ian Garry vs Carlos Prates, where we will find out which UFC prediction channels had the most and least correct picks, the highest and lowest return on investment, and which ones are on the longest winning or losing streak. But first, we look at the totals and compare the Oddsmakers versus the Tapology community and the YouTube prediction channels. For this Fight Night card, there were a total of 14 fights. I tracked predictions from 109 channels and they made a total of 1460 predictions, for an average of 13.4 predictions per channel. Out of those 1460 predictions, 1064 were correct for 72.9%, which is a lot higher than the average of 63%. And 396 predictions were incorrect for 27.1%. The favorite fighter in odds won 12 out of 13 fights. The fight between Timmy Kiwamba and Roberto Romero was exactly even in odds, so that one doesn't count. And if you had placed a $100 bet on all the favorite fighters in odds on this card to win their fight, you could have won $425 for a return on investment of 42.7%. And on this card, only one underdog won their fight, which was Abusmagomedov, who won versus Michel Pereira. So that's two events in a row where the underdogs didn't perform as well as they did in the beginning of this year. So maybe the lucky streak for the underdogs is over for now. And had you placed a $100 bet on all the underdogs to win their fight, you could have lost $1,080 for a very bad return on investment of minus 83%. The favorite fighter in picks by the Tapology community won their fight 10 out of 14 times for a profit of $11 and 0.8% ROI. And the favorite fighter in picks by the YouTube prediction channels won their fight 11 out of 14 for a profit of $161 for a 11.5% return on investment. So, in conclusion, for this event, the oddsmakers were best at predicting the winner of each fight. Now, let's find out which UFC prediction channels had the least and most correct picks. And for this part of the video, we will only look at channels that made predictions on at least 50% of all the fights, so in this case, a minimum of 7. In 7th place this week, we have Fight Fairy. She had 8 out of 13 predictions correct for a correct pick percentage of 61.5%. In 6th place is Aniki MMA with 7 out of 12 correct for 58.3%. In 5th place are 138MMA, Cody from the Dogger Pass podcast and the MMA Mystic. All 3 of them had 8 out of 14 correct for 57%. In 4th place we have Baby Sharp MMA and Coach from Premium Picks. Both of them had 7 out of 13 picks correct for a correct pick percentage of 53.8%. In 3rd place for least correct picks we have A-Side MMA, King of Crackdown 5095, Sean from the Running Mouth MMA Show and Zlatan's Fight Picks. And all 4 of them had 7 out of 14 correct for 50%. In 2nd place we have Sun Tzu Tips. He made 8 predictions and 3 of them were correct for a correct pick percentage of 37.5%. And the channel in 1st place with the least correct picks this week is Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast. He made 11 predictions and 4 of them were correct for 36.4%. Which channels had the most correct picks for this event? In 4th place we have Half the Battle and Pick'em MMA. Both of them had 11 out of 13 predictions correct for a correct pick percentage of 84.6%. In 3rd place for most correct picks this week, we have these 16 channels in alphabetical order. And all of them had 12 out of 14 predictions correct for 85.7%. In 2nd place we have JustWinBabyMMA. With 9 out of 10 picks correct, he had a correct pick percentage of 90%. And in the 1st place this week for the most correct picks, in alphabetical order, we have KennyOkoyeMMA, MMA Play 365, Rigo and UFC GamblingAddicts. All 4 of them had 13 out of 14 picks correct for a correct pick percentage of 92.9%. So, congratulations to these 4 channels for having the most correct picks this week. Links to these channels can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 109 channels that I tracked predictions from this week, including those that made less than 7 predictions, with their channel name, the correct picks, their total picks and the correct pick percentage. For the most profitable and unprofitable predictors this week, we will only track channels that made picks on at least 50% of all the fights. Every pick counts, regardless of confidence level or odds preference. We place a $100 bet on each pick to win their fight, aka the money line. We calculate the results using the odds from the tail of the tape. The rankings are based on the return on investment percentage. At number 10 for the most unprofitable predictor this week, we have the MMA Mystic with a loss of $256 and a minus 18.3% return on investment over his 14 predictions. At number 9 is A-Side MMA with a loss of $336 and a minus 24% ROI. Baby Sharp MMA is at number 8 with a return on investment of minus 25.4% over his 13 predictions. With a loss of 0.1% more, we have Cody from the Dogger Pass podcast in 7th place with a return on investment of minus 25.5%. At number 6 is Coach from Premium Picks. He had a return on investment of minus 26.3%. At number 5 we have Zlatan's Fight Picks with a return on investment of minus 27% over his 14 predictions. In 4th place is Sean from the Running Mouth MMA show and a minus 30.9% return on investment. King of Crackdown 5095 is in 3rd place with a return on investment of minus 36.2%. In 2nd place is Sansu Tips. He had a return on investment of minus 37.2% over his 8 predictions for a loss of $298. And in 1st place is also the channel who had the least correct picks this week, which is Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast. If you had followed all of his 11 picks and placed a $100 bet on each of them to win their fight, aka the moneyline, you could have lost $548 for a very bad return on investment of almost minus 50%. Now, let's see the top 10 of the most profitable predictors this week. At number 10 is the Bodach Show. He made 14 predictions for a profit of $383 and a return on investment of 27.3%. The UFConsultant is at number 9 with a profit of $403 and a 28.8% return on investment. At number 8 we have YoungPastey. He made 14 predictions and had a return on investment of 29.2%. The True Analyst is in 7th place with a return on investment of 30% over his 14 predictions. In 6th place is Bedtime MMA.
What it do?
With a profit of $423 for a return on investment of 30.2%. Opening the top 5 we have Rigo with a return on investment of 36.9% over his 14 predictions. In 4th place is JustWinBabyMMA with a return on investment of 38.8% over his 10 predictions. And with a 0.1% higher return on investment, we have MMA Play 365 in 3rd place. He made picks on all 14 fights of this card and had a return on investment of 38.9%. In 2nd place for most profitable predictor, we have KennyOkoyeMMA with a profit of $553 and a 39.5% ROI over his 14 picks. But the most profitable prediction channel this week was UFC GamblingAddicts. If you had followed all of his picks and placed a $100 bet on each of them to win their fight, aka the moneyline, you could have won $571 for a very nice return on investment of 40.8%. So, congratulations to UFC GamblingAddicts and the rest of the channels in the top 10 for being the most profitable predictors this week. Links to all of these channels can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 109 channels that I tracked predictions from this week, including those that made predictions on less than half of the fights, with their channel name, the money won or lost, and their return on investment percentage. And for the last part, we will look at which channels are on the longest losing and winning streaks. And we start with the longest losing streak. The following 10 channels in alphabetical order are on a 3-week losing streak. And out of those 10 channels, only 2 channels, Baby Sharp MMA and DFS by the numbers, are on a 4-week losing streak. And only one of these 2 channels is on a 5-week losing streak, which is Baby Sharp MMA. And unfortunately for him, he's also on a 6-week losing streak. The following 12 channels in alphabetical order have a 3-week winning streak. And out of those 12 channels, the following 9 have a 4-week winning streak. But out of those, only 2 channels, Rparqs and Shmo, have a 5-week winning streak. But both of them don't have a 6-week winning streak. Links to these 2 channels with the longest winning streak can be found in the video description. Hope you enjoyed the results video of the best and worst predictors this week. If you did or found it helpful, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel while getting exclusive updates, consider becoming a Patreon supporter or a member on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you so much for watching, have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.